You're watching the Hampton Classic Horse Show on WVVH-TV, Hampton's television.
Congratulations, and we salute the winner today, Karl for the United States. How about Daniel Blumen for Israel? Katie Dinan for the USA. Top 3 for the Hampton Classic.
You know, Daniel, this is kind of turnaround because 1 year ago today, you did the exact same thing to McLean. Did you watch Karl's ride?
Yeah, of course I did. And he's a deserving winner. It's that simple. You know, he rode great all week. He had a lot of success all week, and I know when I crossed the timers that he was gonna beat my time. It was just really a matter of if the rail stayed up or didn't. I mean, I did all I could. You know, I tried to get the crowd going, to get them out of focus. I did absolutely everything I could, even after I crossed the timers. But I know Karl. He's a winner. He's been a winner. We know each other for, I don't know how many, like 18 years already or something like that. It was the first time we showed together, and I'm very happy for him. You know, he's a deserving winner. I think the crowd really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. He really enjoyed it. Katie, for sure, also enjoyed it. So, in general, I think it's a great result.
And if you pass it down to Katie, going so early in the Grand Prix, you, of course, come in thinking one thing. If you had been the last to go, would you have ridden it any differently?
You know, I don't think so. I think that's one reason I'm not kicking myself too hard is I really laid down the jump off exactly like I planned. And I came out thinking I had 7 incredible horse rider combinations behind me, and I would need a lot of luck to stay first. But really, I was thinking, I just hope I get a good placing with this. And my horse is a huge stride, and I did all the leave outs. I made all the turns I could. He gave me everything. I'm thrilled for Brago. He's just such a class act. I love him so much. And he was fantastic, and I mean, these speed demons going last and second to last broke my heart, but no, I'm still thrilled. I'm thrilled to be on the podium and at the press conference, and just really happy with my weekend.
And they don't seem to feel too badly about breaking your heart.
Oh, it's okay. I think I can say for the 3 of us, we've all kind of grown up riding on a similar scene in the U.S., even if Karl was West Coast based, and have a lot of respect for one another. And when you're in the prize giving with a group like this, with these riders and these horses, you feel really good about the sport and being at this level with them.
If you would raise your hand, please, and Michelle will bring you the microphone, and tradition continues. We'll start with Kaylin.
Hi guys, I'm Kaylin Riley from Southampton Press, a local paper. If you could all maybe just talk about the jump off, and in particular the approach from the second jump to the third. That seemed to be the real make it or break it kind of point in that course, where you had to jump that vertical on such an angle there. So maybe talk about your approach to that, and for Daniel and Karl, what you witnessed with people going earlier, and what your kind of game plan was for that part of the course in particular.
So I think sometimes there is an advantage going early when you haven't seen whatever mistakes or trouble other people have had, and so you don't, maybe overcomplicate something. And I knew that with my big strided horse, I was going to just have to kind of take the first distance I saw and go as quickly as I could. So in a way, there weren't so many choices. And when I rode up a bit on the ankle, he has so much quality that kind of, made he paid even more attention and really jumped up to me. And once I cleared that, I thought, okay, I got to keep moving. Like, I'm doing it. So I was really happy. But for sure, it's something I've worked on with him, learning how to be faster, working on the turns. And I think it also, when you have a vertical like that on an angle, it comes down to really having trust with you and your horse, and knowing that they're going to take off and that they're in it and that they know what's going on. So for sure, that makes a big difference.
For me, I didn't watch that many people go before me. I sort of had my plan. Before I went in the ring, I got to see Devin Ryan go, just to see a little bit what the strides were and stuff. My game plan was to put a time that was faster than Katie, of course, and enough that Karl had to take some risks. I knew that Karl was going to get my time. You know, when competitors like us go one after the other, we don't ride to be second. That's the truth. You know, and he was going to go for it, and yeah, I mean that turned from 2 to 3, or actually from 3 to the combination, and again to the last. I mean, there were tight turns, they were difficult, and Alan Wade that always does a great job. Put an amazing jump, but it's not that he went lower and made the Oxers less wide. You know, he kept it the way it was. And that makes us jump, you know, like you cannot go full blast and ride anything, because you're going to have some rails down. So I mean, I did my plan. I think, you know, it didn't work out today, but that's how it goes. And like I said before, you know, when you have a winner that rides the way he rode and wins also the qualifier, which in the Hamptons makes a very big deal, because you come in the order of how you qualified on Friday. And that makes a very big difference, you know. So he won the other day, and he had the advantage of going last, and he took advantage of that position. So, I mean, massive congratulations for Karl this week.
Yeah, I mean, of course, going last, there's benefits and drawbacks, because you know exactly what you have to do, but execution is often harder. So I did obviously get to watch Daniel. For me, the biggest thing is I wanted to be pointing to the right, coming off of fence 2. So I put less pressure on myself to do 7, 1 to 2. I think I was the only one that did 8. But that pointed me, you know, right towards fence 3. And so I could hook one hell of an angle on fence 3. It also helped 2 days ago in the qualifier. There was a left turn to a vertical with the Liverpool, and I did a similar angle. It was off the left leg, this was the right. But so I knew from 2 days ago, you know, what it felt like, and I knew, you know, it also gives you confidence in your horse that you know, like when you point them, they're going to go. And that also pointed, because I had such an angle, it pointed me so inside to the combination. And I'm glad that she saw where we were going, because it was pretty, yeah, it was a lot. But she, you know, but I had to do it because I knew I did 8, 1 to 2. And you know, in that situation, I'd rather, you know, go a little bit inside and maybe have a rail than intentionally go farther out and not go fast enough. Like you know, it's better to put all your cards on the table, even if it ends up not working. You know, you got to do it. Good lady.
Next question, please raise your hand. Michelle.
What is your biggest fear when you're riding?
I think biggest fear, I would say, I'm trying to say something important here.
I think someone's just going down now to get to this.
I would say probably, you know, of course we make mistakes, but I'd say my biggest fear would be making a mistake that hurts my horse. Because then you know it's your fault. I don't really, if I hurt myself, that's fine, you know, but that'd probably be my biggest fear.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that my biggest fear was to have such a young journalist ask such difficult questions. But I have to say that what Karl said would be my biggest fear.
It was a good question.
I think Karl's right. You know, at the end of the day, the welfare of the horse and rider is really, like, no matter what happens, if everyone comes out on their 4 and 2 feet, you can always try the next time.
I want to take a quick moment to point out that there are 2 Longines watches sitting there in front of Karl, because in addition to winning today's Grand Prix, Karl, you have won the Longines Rider Challenge as the overall leading rider for this year's horse show. And we fans of U.S. show jumping want to thank you, because in the previous 8 years of the Longines Rider Challenge, riders from Ireland won it 7 times. McLean snuck in there once, so thank you for keeping it here in the United States. Do we have any more questions?
everyone. Karl, I just want to say I'm a really big fan. I love all your walking and talking Instagram videos. My question for all three of you would be, what does your training regimen look like a week before you guys are about to compete?
Ladies first.
So training regimen a week before, I think that the beauty of show jumping is that it's not just what you're doing a week before, but it's almost months before, and coming up with a long-term plan for your horse and aiming for the right events. My top horse, Brago, who I jumped today, he's 16, so I have the advantage that he knows exactly what he's doing, but I try to save him as much as possible, but also keep him fit and happy. So I think that for me, for him a week before, it's really just keeping him sound and happy and riding him. We do a lot of trail riding and doing enough flat work that he's in the program. I think for riders, it's staying fit yourself, but also focused, but not too focused. So it's a balancing act. But I guess if I had the perfect program a week before, I'd be sitting where Karl is.
I mean, it really depends each horse, but specifically for Kalinka, she's very, very hot, and so you have to work her every day, or else she gets dangerously hot. Yeah. There's a reason why I was led around in the prize giving. So she has to work hard, but it's always a fine line of you can't obviously go too much. We don't need to do a lot of jumping with her before. So we just, our last show we had B of the triple down, so we just jumped a two-strike combination a few times before, the day before she got in the truck. But other than that, it's just a lot of flat work and making sure that you work her enough, but not too much.
Of course, the seasons are long, there's a lot of different jumping with different horses. But the number one thing in my head is always to keep the horses fresh, fresh in their minds. Gemma won the last Grand Prix she jumped before this one. Actually, it was her first 5-star win in Toronto, and that was 2 weeks ago. So, like Karl said, I just kept her nice and relaxed. She was going in the paddock a lot, for many hours a day. Some trail rides and just sort of staying fit and happy for the Hamptons.
Please.
What were you thinking as you entered the ring today?
For the first round, I was thinking, before I enter the ring, I hope people don't clap first for the one that goes before, because my mare likes to, triggers her. Don't know why, but it does. And then, of course, she actually almost ran over my groom before I came into the ring. It's a little bad. No, it was just, I think it's a focus on riding the plan that you had set and making sure you run through the plan that you have set and staying focused on that, because it's too easy to get distracted, and just staying focused on you just have to do your job. You just have to, one step at a time, you have to do your job, and that's keeping it simple is important.
Yeah, I agree with Karl. Except my mare doesn't care about people clapping. But for the rest, I agree with him.
Yeah, I also think, staying focused is the most important. I also, especially in the first round, I try to take a moment and appreciate being with my horse at this place. I hope I have as long as possible with him, but he is 16, and to have a horse that's just so good and so on it and gives me so much. I've been doing the sport long enough to know that you don't get that every day. So to just have a moment and not get kind of lost up in the day, but to appreciate that we work hard to be here and that you're going in the ring with a horse that you feel like you can jump clear on. And I think in the jump off, especially going early, remembering to just ride my plan and not trying to do more than I can. And you can't make something, you have to let things happen and not make them happen. And I have a big horse I can't rush anyway, so staying calm and knowing I can only do what I can do.
Yes, please, Michelle.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I'm curious what your why is. Why are each of you, why are you not ice hockey players or doing basketball? No, what draws you to this sport? What is your why?
We like horses. I don't know. Well, using more words than maybe. For me, it's because it's challenging. It's always challenging. Each horse is different. Each horse is new. Each course is different, and it also really tests you as a person. And forces you to stay honest as a person. And not often in life do you have something that you do that like forces you to have to be a certain way in a good way. And I think that's a good thing, and it keeps me interested because it's so hard.
I think my why, it's the combination of three things, many of which Karl said. I think it's the only thing in the world that I can imagine combines the love of the horse, love of animals, but really of the majestic horse, with the love of actually the sport itself. I love jumping, and I've got to kick myself sometimes to do proper flat work, but I love jumping over jumps, and also the competitive spirit of it. And to have something that has, those three things, I feel like it's the best thing in the world.
That's a question that I ask myself every Sunday morning before the Grand Prix. Why am I going through this punishment again? But the answer actually is very similar to what Karl and Katie say. I just love the lifestyle. That's the reality of it. I love to wake up every day to the horses and to work with them and to dream of getting them to their best level, and then keeping them in their best level for as long as possible. Like Katie said, she's riding a 16-year-old, and then to look for the next one that you're going to work with and hopefully get to the highest level, and on and on. It goes on and goes on. On top of it, we are so lucky that we get to go to these incredible places and incredible cities around the world with amazing people, but that's a bonus. At the end of the day, I think that we will all agree that the reason that we're in the sport is because we love the horses and we love our life with the horses. None of us three come from families that were professional riders, so we had options. We could have definitely done many other things, and this is what we picked, and I'm convinced that that's the reason why we picked it.
Well, we really want to thank the three of you. A lot of people have been saying that this was the best Hampton Classic ever. After the last 2 years where we missed one, and last year clearly wasn't the best one ever, although we had quite a finish, I have to say. But this really was in so many ways, and I just want to take a moment to really commend every member of the Hampton Classic team that worked so hard to put this event on. And especially our leader, trying to keep a low profile in the back except for her hat, our executive director, Sinead Cohen. And I want to congratulate the three of you, not only for your finishes, but for putting on a spectacular show that really got those people excited and really showed everyone here and watching on TV how exciting our sport of show jumping can be. So we commend you, we thank you, and Karl, Daniel, Katie, great job. Before we let you go, though, we will ask that we stay and pose for some pictures in front of the backdrop. But on behalf of the Hampton Classic, congratulations, and thank you all for being here.
You're watching the Hampton Classic Horse Show on WVVH-TV, Hampton's television.